The only people who saw Arnold as the winner, 7 judges and his closest friends. None of the audience, or very few, only those that were his friends.
Perfection, a term many chase but few achieve. In the world of bodybuilding, it's a balance of symmetry, muscle mass, and definition. Now imagine mastering all these elements, hitting every mark, every pose, and receiving a perfect score. Not once, but twice. But what if I told you, even that wasn't enough? What if, after achieving the pinnacle of perfection, you still didn't take home the gold? Baffled? So was the bodybuilding world. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario. This is the story of Mike Mentzer, a legend in the sports of bodybuilding. A story of perfection, politics, and potential cut short. In bodybuilding history, certain names stand tall, casting shadows that touch every era. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lee Haney, Ronnie Coleman, and amidst these titans, a name that brought a different kind of disruption to the stage. Mike Mentzer. A name that is not as famous as the other ones, but he's the only bodybuilder that achieved a perfect score of 300. Let's dive into his story. Mentzer wasn't just another bodybuilder. He was a symbol of technical perfection, an athlete who defined what it meant to sculpt a human body to its utmost potential. But more than that, Mentzer embodied a spirit of contention, challenging not just the norms of bodybuilding, but the very system that governed it. 1978, Acapulco, Mexico. The IFBB Mr. Universe competition, a battleground for the world's finest physiques. As the waves crashed onto the golden sands outside, a different kind of storm was brewing inside. The lineup was nothing short of stellar. Tom Platz, with legs that seemed to defy human anatomy. Carlos Rodriguez, an epitome of style and charisma with his unmistakable mustache and afro. The stage was set for a showdown of giants. But as history would have it, this year would be remembered not just for the intense competition, but for introducing the world to a physique that was, well, perfect. As Mike Mentzer took to the stage, there was a tangible shift. Here was a man who brought not just muscle, but artistry to the platform. With each pose, he painted a picture of what perfection in bodybuilding could look like. Little did the audience know, they were witnessing a chapter that would become iconic, setting the stage for one of the most controversial moments in bodybuilding history. At the 1978 IFBB Mr. Universe, something unprecedented occurred. With every twist, turn, and flex, Mike wasn't just competing, he was transcending. By the end of his performance, he didn't just impress the audience or intimidate his competitors, he achieved what was once thought to be unachievable. A score of 300. Perfect. A number no bodybuilder had ever seen beside their name. But for Mike, it wasn't just about the score. It's the first perfect score in known history, and still no bodybuilder has yet to manage this feat. It was a statement. He won the Mr. Universe and literally obliterated the competition. The late 70s was a defining era for bodybuilding. The sport was evolving, and so were the ideals. And here was Mentzer, redefining those very ideals. He presented to the world what a perfect physique could look like, a harmony of size, symmetry, and aesthetics. This wasn't just a benchmark for his peers, it was a vision for all future aspirants. In achieving the unthinkable, Mike Mentzer didn't just etch his name in history. He challenged the entire bodybuilding community to see beyond limits, to strive for that elusive perfection. In the next year of 1979. A year that would be seared into the annals of bodybuilding controversy. Fresh from his monumental achievement the previous year, Mike Mentzer stepped onto the Mr. Olympia stage, not just to compete, but to claim. Dominating the heavyweight division, Mentzer didn't just win, he once again cemented his status as the paragon of bodybuilding perfection, achieving yet another perfect score. But the night was far from over. In the lightweight division, another titan was making waves. Frank Zane, a name synonymous with aesthetic perfection, displayed a masterclass of symmetry and proportion. And while their physiques presented two contrasting ideals of perfection, the scorecards told a different story. Despite Mentzer's second consecutive perfect score of 300, when the dust settled, it was Zane holding the overall Mr. Olympia trophy. The bodybuilding community was abuzz. How could someone with a perfect score not clinch the overall title? Some argued that Zane's consecutive victories in 77 and 78 gave him an edge, making him the judges' favorite. Others felt that the definition of perfection was shifting, and while Mentzer had size and raw power, Zane brought an unmatched elegance to the stage. The debate was more than just about a title, it questioned the very ethos of bodybuilding. What does it mean to be perfect? Is it the raw might and muscularity that Mentzer showcased? Or the aesthetic artistry that Zane brought to the fore? The 1979 Mr. Olympia didn't just crown a champion, it ignited a debate that would reverberate for decades. While history remembers the winners, it's the controversies that shape the future. And in 1979, Mike Mentzer, with all his perfection, found himself at the heart of one. In 1980, the controversy continued. Behind the shimmer of the stage lights and the roaring applause lies another realm of bodybuilding, one dominated by whispers, influence, and the cold maneuverings of politics. Every champion stands as a testament to dedication and hard work. But murmurs have always persisted, asking a distressing question: do reigning champions get an edge, a nudge from behind the curtains? 1980. A year that, in many eyes, would come to symbolize the intersection of politics and passion. Termed the most controversial Olympia ever, it was more than just a competition. It was a battleground of beliefs, biases, and broken dreams. Mike Mentzer, fresh from his twin perfect score triumphs, seemed poised for glory. But as the results unfolded, the unthinkable happened. It was even worse than before. In fact, he finished fourth. Can you believe that?
Mike Mentzer, Zhang, they were really all ahead of Arnold.
From unparalleled perfection to tying for fourth place. The fall was not just steep, it was inexplicable. How could someone at the zenith of his prowess witness such a dramatic shift in fortunes? For Mentzer, this wasn't just a loss on stage. It was a betrayal of his belief in the sanctity of competition. He saw behind the curtain, and what he perceived shook his very core. At the tender age of 29, an age where most bodybuilders find their stride, Mike Mentzer hung up his boots. Disenchanted and disheartened, he believed the contests were rigged, the game skewed against true merit. With 2 perfect scores to his name, Mentzer's ascendancy to the very pinnacle, to become Mr. Olympia, seemed not just probable, but inevitable. Every sinew of his muscle, every contour of his physique, hinted at a future draped in gold. But fate, often, has its own script. 1981 and 1982 could have been Mentzer's years. The victories, the accolades, the crowning glory of Mr. Olympia seemed within touching distance. But controversies and disillusionment drew a curtain on this promising act. Retiring at 29, Mentzer walked away, when most bodybuilders are just discovering their prime. A career, radiant with promise and potential, saw an untimely sunset. What could have been a continued trajectory of triumphs became a tale of what-ifs. Yet, his legacy isn't confined to those lost years. Beyond the competitions and controversies, Mentzer's philosophies, his unique approach to training, and his undying spirit became his enduring legacy. His mark on the sport remains indelible. Mike Mentzer, a name that evokes admiration, wonder, and a lingering sense of what might have been. In the world of bodybuilding, as in many other competitive arenas, the interplay of pure talent and politics often casts a long, defining shadow. Mike Mentzer's journey serves as a compelling testament to this intricate dance. A sport that celebrates the human body's aesthetic potential, its strength, its artistry, is also susceptible to the vagaries of human judgment and bias. The narrative of Mentzer's career prompts us to reflect upon the depth, and sometimes the darkness, of politics in bodybuilding. With a physique that many saw as unparalleled, with a work ethic that defied convention, Mentzer's meteoric rise was not just impressive, but destined for greater glories. This brings us to an inevitable question, one that has sparked countless debates in gyms, forums, and arenas across the globe. Could Mike Mentzer have been the greatest in the sport had he not retired so early? It's a question that perhaps has no definitive answer, but it's a question worth pondering, worth debating. And now we turn to you. We want to hear your take, your insights, your opinions. Do you believe Mentzer's early exit robbed the sport of its potential all-time great? Could he have reigned supreme in the sport of bodybuilding? Dive into the comments below and let the world know what you think. In the end, legends like Mentzer ensure that the spirit of bodybuilding, its tales of triumphs and trials, remains forever etched in our collective memory. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel. Legendary Bodybuilders, until next time.